Good evening and welcome to the headline news for this week. Rinsed, spun and hung out to dry. I'm Mike Bodner. Boris Johnson's visually impaired chief advisor, Hominid Dummings, admitted earlier this week that he went on an extended drive during lockdown to test his eyesight. Political commentators have noted that not only does a man with eyesight issues driving a car bring a whole new definition to the term trip hazard, but that at number 10 it's now a clear case of the blind leading the blonde. It does, however, seem that Dummings may actually have an eyesight problem, as he still can't see that he's done anything wrong. Here at the FreeBeeCee, we tried to set up a guide dog appeal for Mr. Dummings, but none of the dogs we approached would accept the job. Eyesight tests, it seems, have been the theme for the week and have drawn the attention of the HSE, the Health and Safety Executive. They contacted 10 Downing Street to ensure that, as a workplace, it was fully supportive of those with visual impairments. Downing Street issued the following photograph, along with a statement to say it was doing all it could to help its workers. And from eyesight to hair, the Hairdressers Association has called for the government to allow hair salons to open as soon as possible. But for one woman, the announcement has come too late. Rachel, which is not her real name, gave us an exclusive interview in which she revealed that out of desperation during lockdown, she allowed her husband to cut her hair. And just a warning, this report contains some disturbing scenes.
It was awful, horrible. If I'd known just how bad, I'd have never let him do it.
Tell us what happened.
Well, I just needed a little trim, and I asked him if he'd do it, and he said yes. And then he went out to the shed.
He went to the shed?
Yes, and he came back with the hedge trimmers, and I probably should have known then.
The next thing Rachel knew, she was almost completely bald.
Well, he certainly won't be doing it again, that I can tell you.
That sobering story there from our coiffure correspondent in London. We did ask Rachel if we could speak to her husband, but she said he was in the garden and that we need a spade to find him. Speaking of spades, the nation's hardware and DIY stores are set to reopen again. The Workers' Union says, however, that during the lockdown, hardware staff had been screwed, many had bolted, and for others it was the final 2-inch nail in the 18mm plywood coffin. Among those reopening is Wickes, whose management today said they'd be taking a cautious approach to reopening and would be introducing certain rules and measures. The rules and measures will be found in aisle 6, along with plumb bobs and spirit levels. Homebase, meanwhile, says it too will act with caution. The statement today advised that the number of customers being dealt with will be extremely limited, and anyone approaching a sales counter too quickly will be treated with suspicion or ignored completely. And staff have been warned not to engage with customers who ask questions. No change there then. In international news, China has announced that its air force will no longer need fighter jets, or indeed any aircraft at all, after a new performance enhancement drug has given its air force pilots the ability to fly. A leaked report from one of those testing the new drug said takeoff was no problem, but landing on his undercarriage was extremely painful. In transport news now, long-distance passenger trains will finally be allowed to run on main lines again. Virgin says it's hoping its new hugely extended trains will bring passengers flocking back. The first of the mega trains leaves London tomorrow morning, and it's so long it'll be calling at Watford Junction, Milton Keynes and Northampton all at the same time. And that's the week's news, all wrapped up with surgical tape, fully disinfected and thrown in the hazardous waste bin. I must go now because I have an appointment to test my eyesight. It's at a chateau just outside Paris. Good night. Bonjour, Paris. Well, if he can do it, I can do it.